What if your child's behaviour was just a mirror of yours? Let's explore this mirror effect in parenting. Your children aren't just watching, they're mirroring. Do you like what they're reflecting back at you? Every child reflects the emotions and the feelings, the energy that's around them. What are you reflecting?
Welcome to the I Am Education podcast, where we explore transformative ideas for parents, educators, and anyone passionate about shaping the future of learning and humanity. Join us as we dive into the latest insights, practical tools, and inspiring conversations that empower both children and adults to thrive. Let's unlock the potential of education together. I am education for the love of learning.
Welcome back to the I Am Education podcast. My name is Jason Alexander, and I'm excited you're here with me today. This podcast is all about empowering educators and parents to create positive and meaningful experiences for the children in their care. In this episode, we're diving into a powerful idea. Children are your biggest mirror. Now, this topic is more than just behaviours. It's about how children reflect the energy, the emotions, the language, both internal and external, and the attitudes of the adults in their lives. Whether you're an educator, a parent, or really anyone who works with children, this idea holds the potential to transform how you show up for them and ultimately for yourself. Let's start by unpacking this idea. Children as mirrors. Think about the role a mirror plays. It shows us an image of ourselves, sometimes in ways we don't expect or we don't want to see. Now imagine a child in your care acting out. We know that behaviour is representation of an unmet need. It's a form of communication. And understandably, we get frustrated about our children's behaviours at times. But here's a thought. What if their behaviour was a reflection of the behaviours you demonstrate? Their unmet need could be your unmet need, and they are simply reflecting to you what you don't want to see. How often do you consider the physical environment when it comes to setting up children to succeed? The impact your emotions have on setting your children up to succeed. Let's say your behaviours are indicating you have an unmet need for connection. You desire to be seen and heard for an amazing achievement that you had at work, only to find that your subtle hints, there's probably an issue there as well, but let's continue. Your subtle hints have fallen on deaf ears. And then you find that your child is wanting praise for every little thing that they do. Mum, I brushed my teeth. Dad, I put my sink. Dad, I put my bowl in the sink. Their behaviours are reflective of your unmet needs to be seen and heard. Their needs can often be your needs being reflected right back at you, the mirror at play. Now, children pick up on everything except for their toys. The tone of your voice, your expressions, your body language, and even the emotions that you might not say out loud. They're always observing, absorbing, and reflecting. This reflection isn't about blame. It's about awareness. When we see this clearly, it becomes one of the most valuable tools for personal growth. Here's something to think about. When was the last time that you felt that a child's behavior mirrored something within yourself? Maybe it's their impatience, their feelings of anxiety, or their joy. Did you realize at the time what they were demonstrating, or has it just dropped in now? I want to highlight one of the most powerful ways children mirror us emotionally. Let me set the scene for you. It was a long day at the centre. Traffic was backed up on the drive home. I had a million things going through my mind, and the radio just wouldn't play that perfect song for me. You know that feeling, right? I'm sure you have been there many times before. Walking through the door, I was met with hugs and happiness all around. My children were so excited to have Dad back home for the night. But the mood quickly shifted. I was short. I was exhausted. And I had just had enough. Without giving myself the opportunity to reset in the car prior to walking in, I infected their energy with mine. My children soon became withdrawn, and their high energy just evaporated. They were mirroring my exact feelings and expressions. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is some good news to this reflection. It works the other way too. When I took a moment to slow down, to breathe, and to shift my mindset, then return to the family, everything changed. The children adjusted as I adjusted. Children are deeply attuned to the adults that they trust. Your calm becomes their calm, and your presence becomes their anchor. Why does this happen? Well, children's brains are wired for connection. It's how they learn about the world. It's how they learn how to view everything within it. Mirror neurons? Have you heard of them? These are the parts of the brain that light up when we observe others. And for children, they learn through viewing and then replicating. So it makes sense that these neurons are especially active for them. Essentially, they're learning how to respond to the world by mirroring us. What would it look like? No one spoke adult words around a baby. How would that baby communicate? Would they learn that that's mum, that that's dad? Children's behaviours are not just reflections, they're invitations to reflect. They show us what's happening in our shared environment and within ourselves. For example, let's say a child repeatedly interrupts you while you're speaking. Hey, 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 I want to share something. Hey, hey, hey. Understandably, you might feel irritated or even interpret it as straight up defiance. Pause. Take a second. Don't react. We're looking to respond. And we understand behavior is the representation of an unmet need. So in this situation, a child constantly interrupting you, what is their behavior representing? Is it a need for connection? Or is it a response to how we've been communicating with them? Have they been in the middle of a conversation and hey, shh, go pick that up? We're not just mirroring emotions, we're also mirroring actions. The behavior can serve as a mirror, offering us a chance to slow down, reflect, and respond with intention. Now, here's a personal story for you. And it happens quite a distance away. Disneyland. Happiest place on earth, right? Well, that's what the tagline says. A visit there with my 3-year-old proved it right. However, there was one character that switched the mood instantly. The character was the beloved Eeyore from the Winnie the Pooh series. And for those that don't know, Eeyore is a donkey. He is low energy and would definitely see the glass as half empty. And so my daughter, 3 at the time, came bounding into the line to see another amazing Disney character. She's just seen Rapunzel, she's had a photo with Cinderella, and we even went to the island and found Tinkerbell. So we lined up to see all these Winnie the Pooh characters. Piglet, amazing. Tigger, even better. Eeyore, the mood changed. She didn't want to be near him. Her eyes cast downward as she avoided the gaze of this low-energy donkey. Eeyore, in that moment, you exactly showed to me the mirror effect that we have on children. Unintentionally, of course. I don't think Eeyore actually goes out of his way to make people feel depressed. Now, at the time, I was much more inexperienced when it came to understanding the emotions of children and, more importantly, how to support them. At this time, it was something that we actually grilled our 3-year-old about. Why were you so sad? You really wanted to see Eeyore. We questioned and questioned and questioned. And we found that questioning her just gave her more opportunities to feel shame for her response. A natural response to a low energy stimulus. Seeing Eeyore did not make her feel empowered. And instead, she was made to feel as though something was wrong with her and how she mirrored the energy in the world. This mirror occurs naturally. It's not something that children or people actively go out of their way to do. Think about the last time you walked into a room and it was high energy. There was probably that initial feeling of okay, I need to match this. And then that's when our conscious thinking gets involved, and we might find ourselves shrinking or going along with the energy. And for us, embracing the mirror effect that we have on children, it's not about being upbeat and perky at all times. It's simply being aware of how your energy will impact children. You want to show children the full experience of their emotions and work with them to explore them, but also understand getting frustrated with them based on them mirroring your frustrations is not helpful. The situation will just involve a battle to see who backs down first. And it's in these moments that no one wins, and ultimately connections suffer. There's another layer to children's reflections that we don't often think about: their idolized view of us. To the children in your care or in your home, you're more than mum, you're more than dad, you're more than a teacher. Often, you're the strongest, smartest, and most beautiful human that they have ever seen. They see you as an anchor, their guide, and in many ways, their world. They have really developed a sense of connection and a sense of trust with you. And so when they look up to you with that kind of admiration, they're also learning what to believe about themselves. If you doubt yourself, if you externally speak negative about who you are, what you look like, what you can achieve, they ultimately begin to internalize that. They think, if someone so strong and beautiful and brave feels that way about themselves, what does that mean for me? What chance do I have in this world? For example, if you frequently say things like, "Oh, I can't get this right. I'm so bad at this." They're not just hearing your words. They're seeing your self-doubt as a model for them to mirror, for them to reflect. But once again, the reverse is also true. When they see you face challenges with courage, kindness, and self-compassion, they're learning resilience and self-worth. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," try saying, "This is tricky, but I'm working through it." It's okay to find things hard sometimes. You're not just speaking to yourself. You're teaching them that it's okay to grow and learn. Externalize and emphasize that inner positive monologue, and watch the impact it has on how your children approaches challenges. Here's another reflection piece for you. What's one area where you've been self-critical in front of your children? Have a think about that. Lock it in. Now I want you to consider, how can you reframe those moments into teachable examples of kindness and self-respect? Now that the mirror effect you have on children has been brought to your awareness, how can you use this understanding to positively influence the children in your world? Here, just a few strategies. Practice mindfulness, making a point of taking deep, purposeful breaths throughout your day. A personal favorite, coherence breathing. 5 minutes of in and out. Eyes closed, set a timer. Don't worry about, am I doing this right? Just simply in and out. And so ask yourself to start the day, what impact do I want to have today? This simple attention can set the tone for your interactions. I love the idea of writing your intention down on a scrap piece of paper and keeping it in your pocket. That further emphasizes that today, this is the intention that I'm bringing to all that I do. And so for me personally, one of the greatest opportunities I have to practice mindfulness is with a cold plunge or an ice bath. Now, I know what you might be thinking, that's cold. I don't want to get in. I don't want to do that. And that's okay. This is my strategy. This is what works for me. I find time in these cold environments can be quite meditative. I enjoy it. Crazy to think, right? But when I'm in these, either a cold plunge or an ice bath, I give myself the time to just simply be, to feel all the experiences and to embrace the stillness of now. And the best thing about it is I have the ability to do it at home. So my children are watching and they're slowly wanting to explore it as well because dad does it and he loves it. My middle child only recently actually sat in there. Normally she's just a stand up and just observe the world. But this past week, she sat down and the sheer joy on her face when she knew that she could do hard things was amazing. And my youngest, well, at the ripe age of 15 months, he enjoys throwing pegs at me while I'm in there. So there's nothing like being in the now than feeling a peg hit you in the back of the head. Another strategy is model vulnerability. It's okay to let children see you navigate your emotions. You might say to them, I'm feeling a bit frustrated, so I'm going to take a moment before I come back to this. Now, this not only helps you in the moment, but it also teaches children healthy ways to manage their own feelings and their own emotions. Share your struggles, not just your successes. It's important for normalizing the process of learning with your children. How can you expect your children to take on something new if you only show them how to stay where it's comfortable? Now, when I talk about being vulnerable with your child, there's also a level of understanding that you need to have of what is appropriate for your child. And that's a whole different podcast in itself. But ultimately, I believe if it's something that you want your child to learn from, if it's something that you want your child to embrace or to replicate, then share with them the thought process that will allow them to take what they need from the moment. It's not about being vulnerable to create emotions within another person. And I want you to prioritize self-care. When you take care of yourself, you're better able to take care of others. Whether it's finding moments of calm during the day or having a regular self-care practice, your well-being directly impacts how you show up. Setting boundaries for your family is important. When I come home, I need to shower first. It's a seemingly simple task, but it's a task like this. It can mean the world to a child who doesn't feel they deserve to have time to themselves. When you set healthy boundaries, it's as important to you as it is to them. And so, before we wrap this up, I have a challenge for you. For the next week, observe the children that you engage with. They might be your own. They might be children that you teach. It might just be a random child you see on the street. Now, when they reflect something back to you, pause and ask yourself, what is this teaching me about myself? Write down what you noticed and reflect on how you feel in those moments. A simple way to embrace the mirroring effect in children is to actively smile at children. Poke your tongue out. Show fun. Show love, show connection to them, and just watch how they respond in kind. And finally, I want to leave you with this reflection. If children are our mirrors, what do we hope that they're reflecting back to us? For myself, the moment I found out I was going to have a son, the desire to truly understand myself became even more urgent. It became something that I focused on even more because it was in that moment that I realized that my son would not only learn from me, but would inevitably mirror my actions, my beliefs, and the energy I put out into the world. Understanding this prompted me to pause and look deeper within I knew that to raise him well, I needed to first take the time to get to know myself, to uncover the truths about who I am and what makes me tick, before I unintentionally pass on any habits or patterns I didn't fully understand. This is when the real transformation in my personal development began. It wasn't just about the changes I needed to make. It was about doing the hard work of fully embracing myself, flaws, strengths, fears, and dreams. And I didn't want to just pass on the good parts. I wanted to model for him what it means to grow, learn, and transform myself as a man. I wanted to show him that becoming the best version of yourself is an ongoing journey, and it requires patience, awareness, and ultimately being honest with myself. This path took me to men's retreats. It took me to men's events. It took me to breath work. It took me to NLP. It gave me the opportunity to really go inward and to understanding at my deepest core what I was mirroring out. And what I was mirroring out was what I wanted my children to become. So if this resonates with you, if you see the value in taking a deeper look at yourself to become the best version of the person children need, I invite you to reach out to us at I Am Education. We specialize in guiding parents and educators through their journey of self-discovery and empowerment. By focusing on becoming your most empowered self, you don't just impact your own growth, you help shape a future generation who are empowered, confident, and ready to mirror positive change into the world. Thank you for being part of this journey with us. If you found today's episode helpful, share it with others who might also benefit, and be sure to subscribe for more insights. Let's continue showing up with purpose together. Just shy.